Today on the portfolio review, we are recapping week 13. Did you play Russ Wilson? Did you play Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin? Did you play Bucky Irving? Those are the questions that are on my mind right now because I didn't play them. Had a rough week 13, but we're going to pick up the pieces. We're going to recap all the action on DraftKings, on Underdog, and then we will set our sights on Monday Night Football, build a pick 'em. And the Underdog lobby is chock full of week 14 contests as well. Can't believe I said that. Week 14 is here. Wild stuff. I'm Pete. This is the portfolio review. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto match with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, coach 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
All right, GMs. What's up, TCD? What's up, Brandon? AJ in his feels was a rough one, not going to lie. I feel you, man. I got pretty dusted yesterday as well. Mr. Unlimited. Josh is still looking for a second half AJB target. Man, it sucks. It's like every single week we talk ourselves into the monster upside of AJ Brown. And even with no Devontae Smith, even with Dallas Goedert getting banged up against a really bad Ravens secondary, and he still couldn't get rolling. Very disappointed. What's up, Drac? What is up, Bindles, Chad, Mike? Was Kitchen right? What did Kitchen say? Kitchen says a lot. You know, it's kind of like a broken clock thing. You know, a couple things he's going to say is eventually going to be right. GM was a Mark Andrews and Panthers D instead of Goddard and Rams D from 70K. Chris, if you just go the other way in that 2v2, you win 70K. What's up, Laura? What is up, Johnny? Steve in the house. You got a top finish in the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League. Love to hear it. We will review both of those on DraftKings and Underdog. Lots of fun facts about Josh Allen TDs this morning, including having more receiving touchdowns than Trey McBride. I mean, Trey McBride is balling. He's allergic to the end zone, but let's not shortchange Trey McBride. Yes, you would prefer him in PPR leagues. You'd prefer him in tight end premium leagues. He's just not finding the end zone because Kyler can't see over the offensive line. DK Dub with a college football question. Do you know if Underdog will have draft for the college football playoff? I honestly don't know, man. I'm sorry. I'm not privy to any of that. Let's see here. Chiefs Kingdom. We got a laundry bro in the house. Got the Patrick Mahomes avatar fired up for the Chiefs. There you go. Look at this. Someone won $10,000 in the afternoon only. Corbin Redhounds basketball, parentheses, Corbin, Kentucky. What a YouTube name. $10,000 bink. Congrats. Here, I'm going to let you guys in on something that I was very torn about right before the show started. Normally, I end up and I go make a second pot of coffee. For the show, I was busy this morning doing a few things. I looked up and I was like, holy shit, the show is in a couple of minutes. And I had to make a decision. And that decision was, do I start the show late to make another batch of coffee, or do I start the show on time and have maybe one of the saddest coffee pours I've ever done on this program? But because I care about you and how I know how frothy the chat gets, I decided I was going to start the show on time. So I think I have barely enough coffee for a pour that maybe if KZ were here could be graded at like a 5.5 at 6. That might even be an ambitious. This might be like a 4-point coffee here. So I'm just warning you guys. I'm setting the table for why this happened. I decided we'd start the show on time. I'll let you listen. There's very little in here. It's going to be sad. Honestly, I think I underpromised and overdelivered on that. There was slightly more than I thought there was. I got about the normal pour that I usually do here. I think we're okay. I was really sweating that. I was very torn. So we're going to get one good cup of coffee this morning to help power us through all of the sadness across our lineups. Pete, we need a psychiatric breakdown of why you are not behind our new Gam King, Bucky Irving. Yeah, I've seen a lot of chatter about this, and I've been kind of confused about it, right? Because last week, Bucky had an awesome game. I think it was over 150 scrimmage yards. He was firmly still in a timeshare. He had the same amount of carries as Rachaad White last week. He lost a couple goal line carries to Sean Tucker. Anyone who plays fantasy football is very well aware of trends with rookie running backs that are performing well, that are efficient, seeing their role increase as the season goes on. But projection systems are going to have a really hard time capturing that. They can't just say, last week, Bucky Irving is in a timeshare with Rachaad White, and the next week he is going to double him up in carries. Like you're just not going to be able to capture that. So Bucky Irving last week needed an IKB. It needed an IKB. And for me, and I still had some Bucky on Underdog, but when you were looking at his ADP relative to guys like Jonathan Taylor, who legit were projecting to carry the ball 8-9 more times and not cede a single carry, that was a hard click for me. I think over time, you're going to get burned making that play more often than you're going to hit. And I want to IKB Bucky more than anyone else in the world. He's one of my heaviest bags on Underdog. I loved him when I made my video for my favorite picks. He was one of my favorite Underdog picks all year. So I love Bucky, but I do think when you looked at his ownership, and we'll get into it and see what it came at the contest, relative to some of those other backs who had zero concerns for timeshares, who had zero concerns for losing work. And I think it's a particularly tricky timeshare with how the Bucs use their backs, right? Rachaad White, really good in pass protection. They still trust him there. He's not going to fully go away in that capacity. Every single week they come out, Liam Cohen is like, I got to get Sean Tucker more touches. You know, he's an explosive back. So it is a complicated play to make. It is an IKB play. And to everyone who IKB'd it yesterday in full force, congratulations, tip of the cap. But I do think you get burned making that play more often than it hits. But the Bucky train is not going to slow down anytime soon. I am very excited to know that Bucky Irving gets to play this same Carolina Panthers defense again in week 17. And I love Bucky, but I don't actually think it was that tough of a fade yesterday at an ADP of 18 on Underdog at a pretty high ownership clip relative to some of those other guys. So yeah, I am not tortured by what happened with Bucky Irving yesterday. I think it's one of those classic kind of spots that happens in fantasy. And if anything, it speaks to how sharp the field is, right? Like the field is willing to skate to where the puck is going to be. The field is willing to say, you know what? Bucky's going to see increased touches and a plus matchup and go nuts and pay off this lofty price tag. That's some sick shit. Because back in the day, the field still wouldn't quite be buying it. Chris is going with an espresso. That sounds pretty good. Okay. All right. Let's pull up DraftKings. We got a lot of ground to cover as usual. You guys know the full sequencing of events here. We are going to go through DraftKings GPPs, including the Deposit Kingdom League. We will then head over to Underdog. We'll check in on Battle Royale contests from all shapes and sizes, including the Deposit Kingdom League over there. We'll take a look at my Pick 'em graveyard, although we did hit one of the bombs that we cooked up on the cram, or not the cram, it was After Dark on Saturday night. Shout out to Adam Thielen for that one. Then we will take a quick peek at the Guillotine Leagues. I escaped one of my Guillotine Leagues, even though I forgot to set my lineup. It took a 0 in the flex. That's a skill issue there for anyone who lost to me without putting a player in my flex. And then we'll build some pick'ems for Monday night. I think there's some fun angles for tonight. I was reading up on the game and looking at some spots that I like. So that is going to be the itinerary for today's show. Let me get the screen shared up here, and we'll get rolling. Pop up here, GPPs. All right. So I made 3 lineups yesterday. None of them cashed. One of the lineups I was excited about heading into the day, and was excited when I saw how pace up and how many points were going in this game, was a Joe Burrow double stack. This was something I wanted to roll out after we kind of talked through it on the cram yesterday, specifically because of the Jamar Chase ownership was projecting to be pretty low. You see here, I get him at 7.4%. This is in the, this is the Deposit Kingdom League. Let me get it pulled up in the SPY. I had this in the red zone, actually. Anyways, very similar ownership, even less ownership here, actually, in the red zone. Comes in at 3.6%. Joe Burrow at 3.4%. T. Higgins at 11.6%. And then I ran it back with Pat Freiermuth, who I kind of liked as an under-the-radar tight end at 3.7%. So when I look at this part of the stack, this has kind of been the story of my year on DraftKings, where I either hit the stack or I hit my core plays, and I just can't get the pieces around it to work out. But, Burrow goes for 25. Russ goes for 30. Obviously, you'd prefer that, but can't complain with that at 3.4%. Chase drops 20. Definitely need a little bit more at his salary at 8,600. T. Higgins, though, dropping 18 at 6,600. You can live with that. And then Freiermuth was a big win. $3,500 tight end drops 18.8. This lineup actually had late swaps. I did late swaps on all of my lineups. This one had, I believe it was Alvin Kamara, and I can't remember who else was actually in this. I think it actually was a Mark Andrews team, and I just swapped from Kamara to Kyren, knowing that I needed to cover some ground. So this was initially Kamara, ended up pivoting to Kyren Williams, who comes in at 11.7%. He gets 21 points. This team had Aaron Jones on it. Really, really rough game for Aaron Jones. Ends up getting, I think it was 42% of the carries. I saw that from JJ's data dump this morning. He had a bad fumble. Not a good game for Aaron Jones. He only scores 10 points. And then one of my biggest whiffs yesterday, we were on the cram. I was starting to get really excited about AD Mitchell. And basically, like, all my worst fears were confirmed. That being that his ownership came up from what it was projected at, around 10%. He's nearly 20% here. He has an absolute snowflake. He actually was on the field a ton. He had one bomb that Anthony Richardson and him couldn't connect on. But otherwise, just a very frustrating day, and take a 0 there from a 20% sub 4K wide receiver. That stings. And then had Mark Andrews in here. Sub 10%. He scores 18.9 points. So again, just shows you how fucking hard DFS is. It's like, all right, I whiff on Aaron Jones and AD Mitchell, and the lineup's dead. Like, everything else is like, all right, yeah, we're cooking. But if I just go the other way in that 2v2, then I can also min cash, I guess. This also had Jags defense at 7%, who only scored 2 points, so that didn't help. So I liked this lineup. Liked how it was cooking there at first with the Joe Burrow double, but it was not meant to be. Let's see here what took down first. And here's the Bucky Irving conversation, guys. So Bucky in this contest, 44%. Maybe I'm being stubborn. I think Bucky at 44% is a pretty wild play. I get the price tag, right? Like, it is too cheap. I guess maybe I'll be generous. I'll say this was like efficient ownership for it. But 44%, it's starting to introduce lots of ways that this can fail. To where you're saying that Bucky is in the optimal, almost 50% of the time. I don't know about that. Anyways, the lineup that won, this is a wild team. Am I seeing this right? Did someone win a tournament with a naked Matthew Stafford? There's no Puka in this lineup. No Kyren. Do my eyes deceive me? Bizzle 49. Matthew Stafford, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, Ladd McConkey, Pat Freiermuth, Nico Collins, and Jets D. This is, so you do have that block of players, Bucky, Mike Evans, and Thielen, and then it's just a 6-leg parlay. Stafford one off, JT one off, McConkey one off, Freiermuth one off, Nico one off. Just be better. Wow. Incredible stuff there. Why can't I do this? Why can't I just individually pick all the best plays? Mike Evans drops almost 30. Thielen, I think, was a really strong pivot off of the David Moore chalk. I actually did that as a late swap in one of my other lineups. Didn't matter, but a nice pivot there. Both him and Leggett, I thought, were good pivots off of that Moore chalk. Lad McConkey has a big day. Could have had an even bigger day, I believe. What quarter did he leave? Was it third quarter he left the game? Or maybe he never ended up actually missing time, but still a nice game from him. And then Nico, probably should have had another an even bigger game than this, but CJ Stroud can't help himself but gets sacked every other play. And then Jets defense, you get the pick six by the big guy, 300-pound pick six there, you get 16 points. So interesting lineup here that takes it down. JT only 4%, Adam Thielen 7%, Freiermuth 3%, and then some other chalky pieces there. So congratulations to Cobizzle 49. Yeah, I'm still trying to like wrap my head around this. Like, even if I were to make 1,000 lineups, I wouldn't have Matthew Stafford. But let's say I made 10,000 lineups and I had one naked Matthew Stafford. I promise you it's going to have Kamara or Taysom Hill on it. I promise you. And it did not. It did not. Wild shit. Absolutely wild shit here. There's no way. Do we think a sim helped with this? Like, there's no way, right? There's no way a sim, and yet they were on some correlation. Bucky, Evans. This feels like a team that wins the Millie Maker. How many points did you need to win the Millie Maker yesterday? I actually put my teams in there. Let's see what took down the Millie. Okay, so this wouldn't have won the Millie. What they would have been, so they had 197.52. So they would have been ninth place. This team would have taken ninth place. This looks like one of those teams where you pull up the winning Millie Maker lineup and you're like, how did you get on this? But in the red zone, Cobizzle, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you, Cobizzle. Yes, I cannot roast too hard here because I also had a lineup. I don't know if it was this one where I burned my flex early. Yes. See, guys? See? No one. This is why I can't throw stones from glass houses. I had Mark Andrews in my tight end and Freiermuth in the flex. I'll tell you what happened here. This was a lineup that I had built in the solver, and it had Zach Ertz initially instead of Mark Andrews. And of my three lineups, I had two of them that had Zach Ertz on it. I was like, I don't want two Zach Ertzes on my three lineups. So I ended up pivoting that Zach Ertz to Mark Andrews and did that manually and didn't swap the flex. So this is on me. This is on me. I deserve all of the criticisms. Imagine the flexibility that I lost in playing DFS optimally by burning my flex. Think what I could have done with that extra 3,900. Think what I could have done. I don't even know who else would have been sub 3,900 other than Chalk David Moore that played late. But I'm just as bad. I'm just as bad. I don't even want to look at this lineup. Just seeing the name CJ Stroud just makes me visibly angry. I don't know why I do this to myself. It sucks being a CJ Stroud and Jordan Love slappy. Those are the two guys I want to stack up every single week, and it's just not happening this year. It's just not happening. Someone, do not let me play a CJ Stroud stack again. Just don't let me do it. Don't let me do it. This was the lineup in the big spy. CJ Stroud, 8%. This was another team I had to pivot. Kamara to Kyron. Ken Walker at 2.8%. Wolf. Xavier Leggett, this was a pivot. I'm trying to remember the exact swap I made, but it involved going to Kyron and Leggett here. I think, oh, no, you know what this was? This was a Bucky Mike Evans team. This was Bucky Mike Evans, and I was so buried. But you know what? Those 60 points that I swapped off of, are you kidding me? I think I just realized I swapped off of a top 10 finish. Are you fucking kidding me? I swapped off of a top 10 finish. The one time I haven't late swapped this year a single time. I have not late swapped a single time. The one time I decide to late swap, I'm like, yeah, I can't play Chalk, Bucky, and Mike Evans. Oh, man. I want to pull this up and just confirm my lineup. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to show you guys this because this is funny. We're all having a good time. We are all having a great time. All right. These were like the lineups I was deciding between. Here it is. This was the lineup. CJ Stroud, Kenneth Walker, Bucky Irving, Nico Collins, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Zach Ertz, Dalton Schultz, Patriots. What a dumbass. I never swap. I'm just sweating my underdog teams. I'm like, who cares? I punted it off on DraftKings again, but I was fiddling around on my phone. I'm like, oh, I'll actually do the smart thing. I forgot you're allowed to late swap on DraftKings. I'll try to be a good DFS player for once. Someone tell me, I want to know exactly how much I lost here. Someone tell me, how many points did Bucky and Mike Evans have? How many points did Bucky and Mike Evans have? If I just go the other way, that 2v2 that I had already settled on, I could have had my best score of the season on DraftKings. Someone tell me exactly how many points Bucky and I want to do the math. I want to feel the pain. I want to feel the pain. I'll go to DK Live here. 30.5 and 28.8. Is that right? Yeah. What's 30.5 plus 28.8? 59.3. We're all doing some math here. Let's have some fun doing some math. Plus 125.98. 185.28 points. 185. This would have finished in 5th place for $7,000. I had this lineup in 7 contests. I had this lineup in 7 contests. Probably I just can't get out of my own way on DraftKings. Oh, I got to subtract. All right, we're back. We're back. I'm fine. I played optimally. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We're back. We're back. Thank you. In my mind, I just had 2 zeros. Look at, you know what? Brady gets a timeout. Brady's on his high horse with Bucky Irving to fund the Department of Education. How about you fund the Department of Entertainment that you're getting? You get a 5-minute timeout. Did this team have a, and it the only 0 in this lineup was, did I have AD Mitchell in this one? No, thank God I didn't have AD Mitchell in this one. It wasn't actually that bad. I'm still mad at the late swap, though. I'm tempted to do the full math. I'm tempted to do the actual math. I've been thinking about Cash Game Week. I can't believe that's 4 weeks away. I can't believe that's how it's 4 weeks away. I'm allowed to fake tilt a min cash. Now I'm choking. Oh my goodness. All right. Anyways, I hate CJ Stroud in the Texans offense. Do you know what debate's going to start to flare up again? And I already saw it. I wrote about it in the pick 6 column. We're gonna start doing the Bryce Young or CJ Stroud debate again. It's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. All right. What was my other lineup? I don't even care anymore. I had a third lineup. Let's just go to the Deposit Kingdom League. We'll look at this and we can see what my third lineup was. It was my worst lineup. Oh, yeah, it was a Sam Darnold double. Yeah, I had talked myself into the Sam Darnold doubles. Another 80 Mitchell Snowflake. Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson here went high T. This was another swap. This was a Kamara team that I ended up swapping to Derrick Henry. This might have been another fucking Bucky and Mike Evans, but we're not going to go and check. Actually, we can check. Let's just see what this team was. What was this team? Sam Darnold. Yeah, it was another Kamara team that I decided to get off of here. Derrick Henry. Here's the rest of the team. Brian Robinson, that was working out well. And then Adam Thielen was the other pivot that I made. Yeah, there were 3 players in this lineup. Ended up pivoting it to Henry, Flowers, and Thielen. Couldn't even salvage this lineup, even getting 24 points from an 8.5% owned Adam Thielen. But I'm done looking at my shitty lineups that I can't do math for. Let's see who won the Deposit Kingdom contest. Look who's up here. Little old Nez. Underdog Nez playing on Redacted. Look at this. Third place, 172.46 points. Anthony Richardson to Michael Pittman. Holy shit. A Jawan Johnson play. That's incredible. Nez was all over Taysom on Underdog, and he decided to hedge with some Jawan Johnson over here. Richardson, Joe Mixon, Chase Brown, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, Michael Pittman, Jawan Johnson, Alvin Kamara, and Jets D. 172 points. Was able to survive sub 10-point scores from Pittman and Johnson. Huge games there from Evans and Thielen. Also able to have a top 3 finish without Bucky. Pretty impressive stuff there, but hit 2 of the other best running back plays on the slate, Joe Mixon, Chase Brown. Is there anything more predictable than the Deposit Kingdom playing Chase Brown? Over 50% here. Let's see who won first. Quinn took it down with a Baker stack. Makes sense here. Baker, Bucky, and Mike Evans. Pretty crazy. Baker only scores 12.2 points. I know he left there for a series, got banged up, came back through that interception. But if playing Baker gets you on Bucky and Mike Evans, pretty good. Chase Brown in this lineup. Adam Thielen ends up being the bring back you need on that Buck stuff. Brian Thomas Jr., really nice play. Ends up getting steamed here on DraftKings, 25%. He was a really good scroll down click on Underdog. You play Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon in the flex. Woo, Quinn burned the flex early, huh? Quinn had Joe Mixon. You put Joe Mixon and Chase Brown up here. You slide Bucky down in the flex. That's a no-no. And then Jets defense there. Mike Dice takes second with a Bryce Young double. I love this. Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, Tommy Tremble, double bring back, Evans and Bucky. So just loading up on this game. Then plays Joe Mixon, Ramondre, and Jamar Chase, and Patriots defense there. So Ramondre, Patriots defense. This is a nice lineup. I like this lineup a lot. 5 players from that game, and then a correlated Ramondre Patriots, and then just 2 pay up studs. Joe Mixon at 8K, Jamar Chase at 8,600. Really strong lineup on a week like this with not too many high team totals, not a lot of games that had the potential to break the slate, and then to be able to do it with only 1 piece from that Cincy and in Pittsburgh game. Really nice team there. I think this is the favorite team I've seen yet looking through these. Beast mode here got 4th place with a Herbert. Wow. So similar to the Baker Mayfield quarterback was not the skeleton key yesterday. I would have thought we would have seen more Russ and Jayden teams at the top of some of these tournaments. Not the case. Again, Herbert ends up being okay because it gets you on Ladd McConkey here and also Bijan Robinson as the bring back. So Herbert to Ladd skinny stack, Bijan bring back. He drops 28 points at 10% ownership. Eat the Chase Brown chalk. Marvin Harrison Jr. You guys were into that on the cram, mentioning some of the coach speak about them wanting to get him more involved. They definitely got him more involved. I think he had one of his biggest market share of targets on the year. He scores 17 points. Brian Thomas Jr. one off here. Taysom Hill ends up leaving the game early. He would have definitely had a bigger game. And then Bucky down here in the flex, and then Jets defense. So needed Jets defense, $2,500 defense that dropped 16. That certainly helps things out there. Did we see Bob Dole run a train? Bob Dole running a train on himself here. This is how you don't have to be good. You just have to be able to make one lineup, and then you just put it in here. You slam it in here 3 times. The lineup's so nice, you had to play it thrice. Another Bryce Young stack. Bryce Young to David Moore with Bucky. Didn't even have Mike Evans. Didn't even have Thielen. This is a shell. Bob Dole made this lineup on Friday afternoon and forgot to update it. I guarantee that's what happened. This is the most shell-ass lineup I have ever seen. Bryce Young, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, David Moore, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., Trey McBride, Kamara, and Colts D. I'm telling you, this is a shell. Look at that. $600 times 3. Look at that. Easy work. $30 into $1,800 with one lineup. Is this you, Matt? Bob Dole. Congratulations. Let's see. S. McGee here had a CJ Stroud. Holy shit. You were able to finish top 10 with a CJ Stroud double. Had those same pieces I did. Stroud, Nico, and Schultz. Had Kamara, Bucky, Ladd, Brian Thomas Jr., Adam Thielen. Wow. Just hit the nuts basically at all the value wide receivers. Ladd 23, BTJ 18, Adam Thielen 23, and a 0 from the Titans defense. That's wild. Gotta love smaller contests though. Did anyone play Jayden Daniels? There's another Stroud team? I'm going to scroll until we can find. There's a Russell Wilson team. Oh no. AD Mitchell ruined it. Really, really nice lineup. Holy shit. This lineup should have shipped. This should have been the shipper. Man, that is frustrating. You see how thin the margins are in DFS? $2,500 Patriots D scores 4. $2,500 Jets D scores how many? 16, 12-point swing there. See, I'm doing math. Fuckers. And then the 0 from AD Mitchell at 3,900. God, that hurts. This should have been the shipper right here. Russell Wilson at 1.1%. You just beautifully nail the double stack to Pickens and Freiermuth. You nailed Chase, says the bring back. You nail Evans. You nail Bucky. You nail Chase. That's why DFS is so gross. Like this is such a good lineup. You identified basically every single good play yesterday, and you put them all in one lineup, and you 10x'd your $10 entry because you picked the wrong defense and the wrong pump play wide receiver. Everything else was perfect. Perfect. Salary cap DFS is so sick. It really is so sick. Look at Brady. Brady is on just an absolute, actually Monday morning quarterback heater. I actually think the play was Calvin Austin over AD Mitchell. I actually don't even think that's a bad take. But Brady, you were on my shit list this morning with this hat. Let's see your lineups, Brady. Let's see them. Send them all over. I want to go line by line through your lineups. What's your username on DraftKings, Brady? Let's look at your lineup. Let me see it. What's your name? Is it Brady? Where are you in here? Tell me your name, Brady. Let's put you under the microscope and see how you like it. B. Sandy? Where are you? I can't even find you because you're not in the top? What did you finish? Are you going to make me export this lineup? I'm exporting. We're doing this. I'm exporting the lineups as a CSV. We're doing this. All right. B. Sandy. Wow. B Sandy finishes. This guy. Are you okay? Let's get this on the screen. Be careful what you wish for, Brady. Be careful what you wish for. Oh man. This is the guy that knows everything. This is the guy that was on Bucky Irving. Here, let's zoom this in here. B Sandy here, the all-knowing Bucky's gonna break out. This is the guy we're worried about. He plays Bucky Irving, Baker Mayfield, Bijan, Ramondre, Will Dissly. Didn't you know he was going to score 0 points? Cooper Kupp, who has gotten fully cucked by Puka Nacua, had 4 points. A.D. Mitchell, the man here that just told our humble Russ Wilson double stacker that he shouldn't have played A.D. Mitchell. Hey, Brady, don't you think this team should have just had Sterling Shepard instead of A.D. Mitchell as part of the Bucs onslaught? It is so easy to nitpick other people's lineups, but when we pull up yours and we're making the same mistakes, playing a one-off A.D. Mitchell when you should just be onslaughting Baker Mayfield in this contest? Brady. God, I love the internet. All right. Anyways, my heart goes out to the Russell Wilson stackers. He was not on my radar yesterday. I thought about George Pickens a little bit. I thought about Freiermuth, who I played in one of my lineups, but man, my heart goes out to this drafter who had a nearly perfect lineup and made $90 from it. Anyone else want me to look at their lineup? I'll look at a couple more here in this contest. I wish I had more coffee. Thank you, Tyler, for the Memby gift. No, thank you, Brady. You and me here we're putting this show on our back. I'm failing basic math. You're being one of the world's biggest fucking hypocrites I've ever seen. And we're providing entertainment to the people. Steve, my wise old father, telling me just to ignore him. No. We don't ignore. The chat gives me the energy I need. Every time I sit down to do this show on a Monday morning, when I didn't play well on a Sunday, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do the portfolio review. We do it every week. Let's go through it. This is going to suck. Then I get fired up. Every time. The lights come on. The camera gets poured. I mess up math. The chat says something that pisses me off. And then we're back. And we're off to the races. No one even wants me to review their lineups. Everyone's just so like, fuck it. Let's move on. Steve, you won the Thanksgiving one? That's actually a good call. Let's just, before we head out of the DraftKings app, I did forget to review the Thanksgiving contest. Here it is. Wait, Steve, is this you? USA F Phenom 5? Oh, no. Oh, you duped it. Steve was up here. So for those of you guys who don't remember, Steve is the 74-year-old who sent me an email last week, had a nice finish in the Wildcat in week 12, and now chops up third place here on Thanksgiving in the Deposit Kingdom contest. Steve is on a heater. So there was a three-way dupe at the top. That's kind of impressive, honestly, to have a dupe in a 500 entry contest with 9 lineup spots. That actually seems wild to me. Caleb, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rico, Gibbs, Reed. How long ago does this slate seem? Jonnu Smith, Devon Achane, Cowboys defense. I mean, obviously an awesome lineup. I'm just kind of stunned that you would have a dupe in a 500-person contest. I guess the lineup was that logical. I mean, you scroll down the rest of the leaderboard here. No other dupes in the top. Oh, there's one, actually. A 1v1 of Lamb versus Neighbors. And then to win it, you needed Reed instead of Lamb or Neighbors. So everyone was playing the same goddamn lineup. This isn't you? God damn it. How many other Stevens are there? What other contests are you talking about, Steve? That is not me. There's a Steve who won, and it's not the Steve I think it is. We're having a rough show. I was in the 3-man contest? What do you mean? This was the 3 max. I don't know what you're talking about, Steve. I'm going to have to send you back to bed, man. Oh, B Sandy. B Sandy. 6th place. We're not reviewing this, though. Fuck that. Oh, man. This is a rough show. This is a rough show. Let's just get through it. Just get through it. We got about an hour left. Fuck, an hour. ADP chasing is live at 11:45 a.m. today. All right, I got dusted on Underdog yesterday. You can see my play here. Maxed out the BR, and then got 35 entries into the mini Royale. I actually really liked the structure of the mini Royale that dropped Sunday morning after the main BR filled. 5,600 entrants, $10 price point with 10K up top. And then, yes, no other hits. A min cash into bomb, a min cash in fullback dive. I knew it was going to be a rough day for me. The second Terry McLaurin scored that second touchdown. Terry McLaurin, I drafted on 2 BR teams. 10% Terry McLaurin. Probably a process mistake because I had a decent amount of Jayden Daniels. 12%. I was very flat at quarterback yesterday. Jayden Daniels is my most drafted quarterback, but was clearly playing him naked and with Zach Ertz mostly. Daniels, Lamar, Hurts, and then really spread out. Darnold and Stroud, kind of my preferred scroll down quarterbacks there. Herbert, Richardson, Stafford, Burrow. Not enough Russ. 1 share of Russ. So yeah, not a good slate for me. Not a good slate. I had one team that was charging pretty hard at the end. That was just too little, too late. This team finishes with 115, but it had a lot of late guys. Bucky C. C, are you happy? I played some Bucky. Had Bucky, Kyron, Puka, and Goddard on it. And I was like, oh man, this thing might be able to cook here at the end. Jayden Daniels, Jamar Chase, the only early pieces, but not enough points to get home. There, Bucky kind of misses out. I think did he lose 1 TD to Rashad White there? Kyron, I thought might have been able to get another one, and then Demarcus Robinson scored, and then Goddard left the game early. So no sweats for me there. I see our guy line of scrimmage here, finished 4th place. Nice team here. A Jayden to McLaurin, had Evans, Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon, Bijan. Joe Mixon and Bijan was the combo you saw at the top of leaderboards a ton yesterday. Rotosurgeon takes it down. It was basically Mixon, Bucky, and Bijan, and then a little bit of Chase Brown for kind of those optimal running backs. Also had the Jayden to Terry with Evans. There were a few different ways you could go at tight end yesterday. McBride scores 15.6. Andrews scores 15.9. Scrolling through some of these top teams. Mostly Mark Andrews teams. Just one-off Mark Andrews. There's a Zach Ertz team that got there. Here you go for the double stack bros. Here's a double stack team. Jayden Daniels to McLaurin, Ertz, Barkley, Bucky, and Evans there. Pretty highly correlated team. 5 of the spots belonging to 2 team stacks and then a one-off Barkley there. But yeah, first place there just with the classic skinny stack. Really no scroll downs in this one. You know, Jayden Daniels 27.9, Mixon first rounder, Bucky at 20, Evans at 14, McLaurin at 28, and McBride at 17. So yeah, not a good scroll down slate. You just needed to take Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin with your last two picks. Easy game. Easy game. I know, man. I keep looking at my coffee and wishing I had more. That's unfortunate. Ruined so many Jayden Daniels teams in BR this week with Calvin Ridley bringbacks. Yeah, I would say I was like, of my Jayden Daniels teams, I would say like just 50% of them were just straight naked. Then like 25% of them having some Ertz, did a little B-Rob, had, 1 to 2 of the McLaurins. And then I did a decent amount of Pollard and Ridley with you as well. So I feel you on that. It is, I do think it's a good reminder, like, when you're thinking about how to basically stack up or attack any quarterback, that you don't want to get overconfident in one specific angle for it, right? Where it's like, you also don't want to just have 100% Jayden to Terry McLaurin. We've seen how many ways that can go wrong. So I like kind of spreading out my bets, having some straight naked, some naked with just a bring back on the other side, some skinny stacks. But yeah, it definitely makes it hard. I was like, the thing is, the second Terry McLaurin scores that touchdown after Jayden Daniels had already had a rushing touchdown, you just know that that's going to be optimal. And it's just like, fuck, might as well go look at my like 2 Jayden Daniels to Terry McLaurin teams because nothing else is going to have a chance. So that's always a little disappointing when you basically have to have that stack to win. Let's see what took down the mini Royale. Shout out, I saw Gumby in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. We've had him on After Dark. He was in first place for a while in this one with the Jayden Daniels to McLaurin, and then the nice scroll down for Brian Thomas, ADP of 35. He was a really good scroll down click. There's your Mixon and Bijan, and then Trey McBride. So again, pretty classic lineup, but you get the scroll at the end. Unfortunately, the 16.7 there can't beat out the Mike Evans and the Bucky scores end up just being so dominant here. So, wow, this drafter wins with Lamar Jackson and Terry McLaurin and not Jayden Daniels, but had Bucky, Evans, Mixon, and Andrews. Okay, Lamar to Andrews. That makes sense. But then still nailed the one-off Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I think it's just a sampling issue, right? There's just so many or so few Russ teams that it made it hard to have any of them bubble up to the top. I think I had one in the main Royale. Let's see here. I thought it was it was up here a decent bit. Yeah. Yeah, here was my one Russell Wilson team. Only scored 99 points. You see how thin the margins are, right? Like what you really needed was Russ to Freiermuth, because Freiermuth could have hung with the Andrews and the McBride teams, but George Pickens only scoring 14.9 actually isn't going to cut it. And this is kind of what I talked about in my Deposit Kingdom video, with how like an over-reliance on stacking all the time can get you in trouble, because you can be right on one of the pieces. Like Russell Wilson put up a monster score yesterday, and yet his pass catchers, when it's spread out, he was dealing to Van Jefferson, dealing to Calvin Austin, to Pat Freiermuth. It all spreads out in a way that it was actually naked Russell Wilson that would have been the play yesterday, because you needed the Evans score. You needed, the Puka Nacua score to have a chance at an optimal first place lineup. And then this lineup just didn't have a chance with Taysom Hill leaving. I feel like Underdog needs to offer some contests where you don't have to draft live, like where everyone puts in their rankings or whatnot. I don't know. That doesn't seem that fun to me. I mean, that it sounds like you want to play salary cap DFS. UD seems to be down for me right now. I did see this spinning wheel here, but it looks like we're still able to review our lineups. We can see my team in DeBomb that finished in 34. I actually wanted to tell you guys about this lineup because I was staring at this one because I remember when I did this draft. And you'll notice here I had Mike Evans and Cade Otton. I had the 101, I believe, in this draft. Yep, I'd pick one, and I took Nico. So I remember this team because I wanted to set up a Baker double stack. So, I go and I draft Evans, I draft Kyron, draft Jonathan Taylor, and then in my 5th round pick, I'm like, okay, I'll take Cade Otton. No one else here. I looked at the other teams. No one else had a buck, or the drafter who had already taken Bucky Irving had already had a quarterback. I was like, no one in DeBomb is taking naked Baker. And I looked at the one team that still needed a quarterback. So I had the very last pick in this draft. And the other drafter without a quarterback was right before me. And I looked at his team just to make sure, because I was like, maybe he takes Cade Otton. Cade Otton was next best available by ADP. Or I can't remember. I was going through the decision of, should I take Cade or Baker first? I decide on taking Cade first because I look at his team and his 2 wide receivers are George Pickens and Terry McLaurin. And Jayden Daniels is still on the board. And I'm like, oh, perfect. I'll just take Cade because he's going to take Jayden Daniels to stack with Terry McLaurin. This dude or lady takes Baker Mayfield unstacked with the second to last pick of the bomb right before I'm picking. And so obviously I'm taking Jayden Daniels naked there. But I'm just still laughing because this individual probably would have won DeBomb. I'm just guessing it was a really good team because it had McLaurin, it had Pickens. I don't remember who his running backs were. But this asshole took unstacked. This had to have been a spike pick, right? Is there any other reason in the world in DeBomb didn't have a single Carolina piece, just come and already had Terry McLaurin and Jayden Daniels was on the board. So I just want this individual to know, thank you. Thank you for being a little bitch and taking unstacked Baker just so you could get your LOLs at me. And this was the only team that ended up mid cashing for me in DeBomb because you gifted me Jayden Daniels instead of falling on the Baker landmine. Thank you for that. Had to tell that story because I remembered it. Here's Easy. Even though in the Discord, he tried to tell me I didn't min cash in the bomb yesterday. Fake news. I did. Easy had a team here in the top that had Jayden to Terry McLaurin. Evan Ingram. I liked him a lot yesterday. 7.6 points in a near ejection. We should get points for defending your teammate's valor with a retaliation. That should be worth 10 points. Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry. Very classic, easy lineup. Derrick Henry and Mike Evans to own the libs. Congrats, Easy. All right. Let's check out the Deposit Kingdom League. Sensei. Oh, wow. We had a narrow finish here. 0.4 point difference between Sensei and Love Your Mom. Haven't seen this username yet on the site. Love Your Mom. I like it. It's understated, quick, to the point. Sensei took it down with a 3 wide receiver team. We have not seen too many of these tabbing through lineups today, but picked 3 pretty good ones there to do it with. Started the draft with Nico, comes back and grabs Bijan, then grabs Mike Evans and McBride, and then finishes with this stack, Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. The fact that you could get that stack with your last 2 picks, pretty solid there. So congrats, Sensei, for taking down the Deposit Kingdom contest. Thumbing your nose at the Sims that say you should be playing 2 running back teams, especially in smaller contests. Nice lineup there for 2K. Love Your Mom. Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin as well. Mike Evans, Mark Andrews, Kyron, and Joe Mixon. Kyron Williams just short of kind of some of those other scores there, from Bijan, Chase Brown. Obviously short of Bucky there, but nice team from Love Your Mom. Jay Wall here in 3rd. All these teams look very similar, just mixing and matching some of these running backs. This is another Jayden to Terry team. Evans, Andrews, Barkley, and Kyron there. How good is Barkley, man? Even in a game where it looks like Barkley's going to flop, he gets home with that TD at the end. He's just inevitable. I was like, oh, wow, Barkley's going to actually have a down game for once. Nah, no, he's still going to get there. I can't tell if this is a bit or if this is real. Is this real, Clay? This feels like a bit. Can you check my aunt's lineup on the Deposit Kingdom? She came in 8th. I was very proud of her. Can you unpack this for me if this isn't a bit? Trisky K, you got your aunt on Underdog? Do you guys have a group chat where you talk about scroll down plays? I'm not judging. I just want to know if I'm getting trolled or if this is real. Is this you? Is she in the chat? This is incredible. Underdog is just bringing families together. It's tearing my family apart, but it's bringing other families together. Wow, Clay's entire family. So you guys are at Thanksgiving and you're talking about how many points you need from Jayden Reed in the last game to min cash the turkey 3? Incredible. Beast first. This is the actual takeaway. Damn, we're losing to ants now. Look at this lineup. Trisky K, Jayden Daniels, to Terry McLaurin, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Mark Andrews. Great stuff, Trisky. Tip of the cap. Owned by Auntie. Do you guys say Auntie or Auntie? For some reason, Auntie just always sounds, it's like the word moist. Auntie. I don't know. It just gives me the shivers. I prefer aunt. My aunt Karen. My aunt Trisky. Auntie. My auntie finished top 10 in the Deposit Kingdom. She's really been enjoying her play, that Auntie Trisky K. Yeah, the auntie has a badge. This is the real Steven here. Good for aunts and old people. We are taking over. Whoever said Underdog was a young man's game was wrong. Congratulations, though. Anyone else want me to look at a team up here? Or are we all just ready to move on from this slate? I'll show you guys the one pick 'em that we hit. The one pick 'em. So if you guys watched After Dark on Saturday, we were absolutely firing. We were absolutely firing. We were building pick 'em bombs at an insane clip. I think the Chosen Deezer in the Discord said that was the fastest I've ever seen pick 'ems get built. I wasn't even on any performance enhancing drugs. I was just letting my hands fly. And one of them got home. Please ignore all the red on here. Do not look at all the red on here. Here it is. This is the one that got home. This is the one that got home. Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, and Adam Thielen. And I think this one goes out to the chat too, because you guys were pestering me about Bucky. I was in on Mike Evans. Mike Evans plus money touchdown. Always a print fest. And then you guys were all in on Thielen too. And I was like, fine, let's build it. So hat tip to the chat here. $15 entry for 600 here. Mike Evans scores a tutty. Bucky Irving over 124 scrimmage yards. That was maxed out, the slide. And then Adam Thielen tutty here as well. Like legit saved the pick-up day. Legit saved the pick-em day. That was a sick catch too. That was a sick touchdown catch by Adam Thielen. After Dark was very fun. I'm so confused by all these Stevens now. There's all these Stevens. I can't keep track of them. Steven watched After Dark. That's a members only stream. You don't even have the little member thing next to your name. How did you have access to that? Are you using a different YouTube account? Do you and your aunt go in on a YouTube membership and share a login? These Stevens, they're multiplying. They're multiplying. I can't keep track of them. The Stevens, the older people among us, we're outnumbered. Why doesn't it have the little thing next to your name like all the other members? We are Steve. I believe you. I'm just wondering how you access. Do you have 2 YouTube accounts? I'm not trying to like police anything. I'm just genuinely curious. Okay. We don't know. We don't know. There's another Steve. Steve, that's this Steve. Steve was on After Dark for the 3-man contest. Okay. I'm starting to put together all these Steves. There's so many Steves. I swear there's like 6 Steves that we've talked about today. There's Steve that won the Deposit Kingdom contest. There's 74-year-old Steve. There's the Steve that I thought was the other Steve that finished top 3 in the Thanksgiving one. There's the other Steve that's in the chat that has a YouTube membership but doesn't have a YouTube membership. Is anyone else named Steve? Is anyone else named Steve? Announce yourself. And now this Steve's leaving. Thank you. You know, I always hate, losing viewers. You got to keep the numbers up for the algo. But I think less Steves would help me just get through the rest of this show. You know those things? It's like, what would you rather fight? 100 duck-sized horses or 10 horse-sized ducks? That's what I feel like right now. Would you rather fight 100 Steves or 10 of their aunts? I don't know. We'll workshop that hypothetical, but shout out to all the Steves out there in the Deposit Kingdom, apparently. All right. I don't have anything else to look at here on Battle Royale. Let's check out some best ball. Pretty good week for my exposures here. We can always head over to bbmdb.com and review my top exposures here. Charbonnet finds the box. That helps. 22%. Speaking of finding the box, Malik Neighbors, I believe, hasn't scored a touchdown since week 2 or 3. Very just sad shit right there. Chase Brown, very good. Brock Bowers, very good. Rico Dowdle, very good. Guess what, guys? The Jonathan Brooks stuff, it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. I couldn't even believe my eyes. They left him on for an entire goal line series. Chuba Hubbard had a pretty bad fumble. Let's see. What was the final Jonathan Brooks usage here? 14 snaps. So almost triple his snaps from last week. 6 rush attempts, 6 routes, and 3 targets. The targets are the really nice thing to see here. So, and by this, I'm not going out of my way to say Jonathan Brooks is a league winner. I'm just here to say he's not dead. And when you looked at how this season was going for him, not being dead is a victory. Not being dead is a Jonathan Brooks victory. Zay Flowers, pretty good. Troy Franklin, TBD. Bucky Irving, uber smash. Ray Davis finds the box. Xavier Worthy still plays on too narrow of a field. Keon Coleman didn't play. JSN was fine. Where's Casey? I don't forget this kind of stuff. Casey told me that JSN was the flag plant lock of the century yesterday. Don't worry, I had a lot of bad calls too. George Kittle, disappointing down game as the 49ers pack it in for 2025. Nico, good. Let's not talk about Kyle Pitts, Devontae Walker. We're done. But pretty good at the top there. Let's see how my exposures have responded accordingly. We're back up a little bit. We're back up. I think we were at like 13 or 14 last week when we looked. Up here to advancing 21 of 150. Still think PD's formula is wrong. He thinks I'm expected to advance only 20.7. Well, guess what, PD? Last week, you thought I was only expected to advance like 15. And now I'm advancing 21. So fix your sight. The thing that's so disappointing, though, is I'm pretty sure I still don't even have that many Bucky teams advancing. because they're all just 0 RB teams. Yeah, 3 of my 23 Bucky teams. That feels bad. That feels bad. Can I get some more of these Bucky teams advancing, please? Can I get some more Bucky shares into the playoffs? What is Bucky's overall advance rate? I'm at 13%. 25%. So other Bucky drafters are just better at drafting Bucky than me. Shout out to Mathology, still holding down first place here in the regular season. You got to love Mathology. I think a lesser man would be tilting having this runaway first place team the year where there's no payouts for succeeding in the regular season. And yet Mathology, just calm and collected as usual. He knows he's going to Dallas to draft the dog bowl, drafted the nuts, the regular season nuts in BBM. Just living the good life. Can't be pestered with tilt. He's just thankful for what the Lord gave him. Any advancing Pacheco teams? I do not think I had a ton of Pacheco, period. But let's check. Nope. 0 of 8 Pacheco teams, although this team is 4.72 points behind. Although it has Daniel Jones on it. Man, I don't remember drafting this team. Brock Bowers and Dallas Goedert. Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones. It's a Pacheco, Rashad White, Tajay Spears, Charbonnet. How is this team even close to advancing? With Pacheco zeros and then Rashad White, Spears, Charbonnet, and Bigsby? I guess it had some moments, right? Sharps had those 2 games. Bigsby had a game or 2. Rashad's had a game or 2. I guess just popcorning it at running back. Chase, Neighbors, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I must have gotten sniped on Caleb on this one. Tyler Lockett, Burton. Why did I draft so much Devontae Walker? Jesus. They trade for Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson can't even get a goddamn snap. And I thought Devontae Walker was going to be a thing. Oof. Oof. I think like the biggest hit for me is definitely the Bowers, advancing 33% of my Bowers teams, 8 of 24. And got some others knocking on the door here. Who else would be a fun player to sneak into the playoffs? CMC teams are all now dead. Neighbors got me there. Neighbors had like 1.5 good games. Clay became a member. Did you become a neighbor so you could multi-account with your auntie? Just be honest. It's fine if you did. It's fine. I just want to know. You guys gonna be sharing that login or what? You pulling a Steve? You pulling a Steve, Clay? Lad teams? Yeah, let's see what the advance rate is on my lad teams. Three of 16. Got one team up here close. Baker, Watson, May. God. This is why, I don't know how you guys do it, who, look at your best ball teams with a fine-tooth comb or put them under a magnifying glass, because it's just anytime you see one of these players who is done for the year or just shitty, it just immediately makes me not want to do this. I don't want to stare at a Javon Baker team. I don't want to stare at a Deshaun Watson team. Javon Baker, remember him? Yeah, Quorum did have a pretty big I mean, if Kyron got hurt, Blake Quorum would just be an uber smash. He has 0-12 Blake Quorum teams. He was kind of pricey, right? The opportunity cost on selecting Blake Quorum relative to Bucky and Ray Davis and some of those other guys was pretty big. Blake Quorum was going in a premium range for picks. How much Polk do I have? Oof, that's one I don't want to look at. I actually don't have as much as the rest of the cabal. 18 shares in advancing one Jalen Polk team. McBride is a guy that I would, my advance rate on McBride's probably pretty bad. 1 of 19. Wow. That hurts. Look at all these third place teams, though. He's trying. But, man, that's going to be tough. One McBride team? Man. Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Rico, Ray Davis, Tyrone Tracy. Don't mind that running back room. This is kind of a fun team, honestly. Jefferson, Neighbors, Keenan, Rome. So this stack really coming on. Ladd, Josh Downs, get back healthy. Luke McCaffrey, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, McBride, and Ben Sinnott. I actually kind of like this team. Jayden, McBride, if we could get Jefferson going, Jefferson and Neighbors getting back to being good again, and solid running backs. JT Swift, Rico, Davis, Tracy. John finished second in the Engage 8 for 950. Nice. On Underdog. Yeah, that was one of the secondary contests they dropped, right? Well done. Kristen says, when I look at my teams, I think, wait, I was actually trying when I did this. Then I get sad. It is, it's a good humbling exercise to go through and just realize how many things we get right. Every time you make a click, it feels like there's no way it could be wrong. And yet you look through your graveyard of teams and realize how bad it can actually get. Jayden has been, yeah. So I'm advancing 5 of 16 Jayden teams, so 31% there. That's a good one. All right, let's. I'll show you my Guillotine team, and we got to check in on the Deposit Kingdom Guillotine League. So I got axed last week in the Fantasy Life one, so I'm down to 1 Guillotine League. This is the industry league. JJ's in it, Tom Everett Scott. And I forgot, I was building my lineups, running the Sims, forgot to set my lineup, forgot to put in a flex, didn't even put Bucky Irving in. And I still am advancing because of Lamar, Barkley, Achan, JSN, Tyreek. Well, now I lose CMC, Kate Otten. I forgot to set my lineup that Brock Bowers and Bucky Irving. Thank God. I would have really been tilting if I lost this team having not set my lineup. Let's set my lineup right now so I don't forget. Let's just set it right now. Oh, I can't even set it for next week yet because this is still going. All right, let's see the Deposit Kingdom one. All right. It looks like this is already settled. We are losing Clayton here. Clayton had Jaden, Bucky, Gibbs, Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Pollard, Amon-Ra, Kittle. So loaded team here, but going to be hard to survive. 1.7 from Kittle, 6 from CeeDee, 5 from Kupp. Man, bummer for Clay. So we're down to the final 5 here. We got Lewis, we got Dan, we got Michael, we got Chad, and we got Andrew holding it down here. Lewis here in the top with a Kyler, Barkley, Cook, Chase, Nico, London, Neighbors, Brock. Man, what a monster game from Brock on Black Friday. On Black Friday, no less. Couldn't have it on the main slate, though, could we? Nothing more McBride than third place teams. Always the McBrides made. Yeah, all-time implosion of Ken Walker. What's crazy is the usage is fine. It's not like we can go look at his usage last week. So he still had 61% of the rushing attempts. This is where he's been. I guess the rushing attempts have come down a little bit. He had that stretch 9-11. He was at 75%. The he had an 81%. No, he's been right in line. I was looking at snaps, but 73%, 67, 67, 81. The routes are what dipped yesterday. You know, he had been running a lot more. The target share, 11%, whatever. He's been running cold. It's basically like we're not getting the things that make Kenneth Walker good at fantasy, right? Which are big plays and touchdowns. He just hasn't been delivering those. But like this workload's fine. 16 rush attempts and 3 targets. It's just a bummer. Definitely a bummer. And then Sharbs, you know, because Sharbs' workload's been pretty consistent as well. Averaging basically 5 rush attempts, 2 or so targets a game. We just haven't had any big plays. Like, when is the last? That's what I talked myself into yesterday. I was like, okay, hard to throw on the Jets. They're going to establish it on the ground with Ken Walker. I could picture him busting loose for a big play, kind of similar to what we saw from James Cook last night, where James Cook's volume is not great, honestly, but he's still giving us the explosives. Like, how many touches did James Cook have last night comparatively? See this? He had like 3 or 4 less rushing attempts, only had 1 target. Granted, they didn't really need to throw at all in that game, but he's giving us the big plays. Ken Walker just not giving us any explosives right now. David says, I'm 20 points behind you on a team you're advancing with 1,533.6. Do you think I'll be able to chase you down? Fuck if I know, David. Sorry. That was uncalled for. It was just it was an honest question that you asked. I do generally don't know how I'm supposed to know if you're able to track me down or not without doing a investigative analysis of both of our teams, projections, expected points, injury risk, bye weeks. But good luck, David. I hope you take me down. I hope you hunt me down. Remind me when you do. Only thing that would be better is if your name was Steve. All right, what else do we have here? What were we looking at? We were looking at Guillotine. I think it's time to build a shipper for Monday night. Let's get the idea box flowing. Let's get off the Pick 'em Schneid. Let's get in the Monday Night Football lab. Broncos, Browns, Jameis Winston, Bo Nix. I feel like this is the part of the show where someone like mentioned something involving the weather tonight in the game that I haven't even looked at. So I'm just going to try to get out in front of it. Are there weather issues tonight in Cleveland? No weather issues. Weather bros, stand down. You guys had your fun last night with Niners Bills. Yeah, I mean, so this game, this game's in Denver. My bad. It's a brutal spot for the Browns, right? Denver has been nails against opposing wide receivers. Judy going to see a little bit of a target bump with Cedric Tillman out, but you still wonder how much success they're going to be able to have here. Jameis Winston interceptions are juiced to the lower, which makes sense. We were able to hit one of those. Nez had floated the interception on the Shipcast last Thursday night. Wait a second. Am I seeing this right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. It's juiced on the higher. My bad. Yeah, 0.5 interceptions is only 0.88. So expecting Jameis to throw a pick tonight. My kind of lean is I was kind of liking the idea of David Njoku as far as maybe getting funneled some extra targets here just with the Denver cornerbacks putting the clamps on the outside. The other thing I liked was Nick Chubb rushing lowers. His line's at 56.5. Speaking of guys who have just not shown any efficiency or big plays, Nick Chubb. I mean, last week he got the ball 20 times, could barely muster 3 yards per carry, only had 59 yards. He's been at 59, 50, 39. In games where they trail, They use Jerome Ford a little bit more too on the field. I know that the easiest path against Denver is on the ground relative to throwing, but I just don't think the game script's going to allow it. And does Chubb have, a 25-yard run in him? Maybe that's the way you play it. Do you just take his lower longest rush 13.5? So yeah, that was an angle there. I really like the Denver passing game stuff. I like this Cortland Sutton anytime TD number at 1.43x. That looks really good to me. I mean, he's had 4 TDs in his past 3 games. The slider I like a lot is Devon Vele. Cleveland has been vulnerable on the outside here, and I think like the sliders with Devon Vele look really nice to me. I think you could slide his receiving yards. I think you could slide his receptions up to 5.5. I feel like they're going to use Sutton a little bit more in the red zone, so I prefer more like receiving yards and receptions with Vele. I honestly don't mind taking the lower on a Judy number. It's a little scary because he has gotten deep for some big plays here and the revenge game narrative that Easy mentioned. So I might stay away from that. But yeah, Denver passing game, Chubb lowers, Njoku maybe targets. Why am I not querying to this game? I guess the only thing that's scary about Njoku targets is they were using, who was that other random ass tight end they were using last Thursday Night Football? I remember tilting that on the Shipcast. Yeah, they used Akins and Blake Whiteheart. Like Njoku's, I mean, is there a more like a more inconsistent like target distribution than this? Look at Njoku's targets this year. 5, 7, 13, 6, 7, 9, 4. It looks like a random number generator. But I do think it's a game he probably gets peppered with targets. And I kind of like the idea of not banking on efficiency and just banking on volume in a negative game script. So that 7.5 targets looks kind of nice to me. All right, let me check in on the chat, see if you guys have any ideas. Any birthdays tonight? We got to ask our guy Shorty Vegas. He seems to always know all the birthday narratives. We got Will, boots on the ground, going to be in the 30s. No. It's Vele, not Mims. Schmo likes Elijah Moore stuff. Judy getting shadowed. And Njoku. Yeah, Nick's fantasy points. Yeah, the stuff with Nick's, I think he definitely has multiple ways to get there with the rushing. So I agree, like the fantasy points, and then you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. If I'm doing like a Vele slide on yards, I definitely would want to slide his passing yards up to like 249, I think. I mean, past 2 games, he's been at 273, 307. I think he's like top 5 in the league right now in passing attempts. They're letting Knicks cook right now. I just wanted to look at this. Like, let's yeah, this is on the full year, but yeah, the stuff is really picked up. So the full season stats aren't going to really capture it. But yeah, they've been letting him cook. So I like the stuff there with Bo Nix. What else do you guys? Yeah, I'm on the Cortland Sutton anytime. Ooh, are you saying slide down longest carry for Chubb? I don't hate that. Yes, guys, I'm aware. I've seen it. Judy revenge game. Yes, I'm aware. Ooh, thank you. I always forget. I always remember to look at rivals when we're doing Shipcast. I often forget to look otherwise. What was the Sutton versus Judy in here? Man, I guess what? Winston's getting spotted 2 fantasy points against Knicks. So Judy's getting what? 1.2 on Sutton. That's not bad. I'm curious what I'm going to check what Leone has it projected for. That difference between Judy and Sutton for points. So he has Sutton for 12.9 half-point PPR points and Judy for 10.6. So 2 points. And they're giving us 1.2 here. Yeah, I think that's a good idea box there. What's it going to take for the Franklin Bros to get there? About 3 injuries. An injury to, it's going to take an injury to Devon Vele, Cortland Sutton, and Lil Jordan Humphrey. And then it's also going to require Sean Payton getting a lobotomy. If that 4-leg parlay hits, Troy Franklin's going to get there. If Josh Reynolds is back, the Vele stuff is less attractive. I kind of disagree with this in that Vele has become such a big part of the offense that I think that he is going to still be a fixture in those sets. And if anything, I think it's, it's Franklin, it's little Jordan Humphrey, who have been kind of mixing in as the third wide receiver. I think it'll just be Vele, Reynolds, and Sutton out there. And also the way I kind of want to play Bailey, and maybe your point's well taken in that you don't lean into the reception quite as much. The thing I want to lean into is the ADOT getting used a little bit deeper down the field. But let's check the news. What is the what's the news on Reynolds right now? Is there anything here? He hasn't even been activated. Chris says if they don't activate him off injured reserve Monday for the night game, they will have to make a decision Tuesday. Yeah. I don't know. This doesn't seem like too big of a concern. Wow. Is this financial advice? Chubb under 9.5 longest carry, Sutton TD, Knicks over 249 passing yards. Can I throw Vele onto that? All right, let's build a few pick'ems. Let's build a few here. We'll do Sutton. We'll do Sutton over Judy. We're gonna mix and match a few of these. Let's do the Chubb lower. And then Bo Nix. Let's just do Bo Nix fantasy points here. That's only 4.86. That's not doing it for me. Do we do a reverse slider? Anyone have the stones for a reverse slide with me? 8.3x. 39.5 is such a low number. I've just, my issue is I've been slide pilled. So if you do Knicks, this was the longest rush. You like the slide down to 9.5. It's not bad. That's a 20xer. You're right. That's a clean 20xer there. Let's lock that in. I'm doing a Vele slide though. I'm telling you, no one can stop me. Let's just try to win one. Nah, I'd rather just build really dog shit ones and tell you not to tail me. Why didn't I hit reuse players on that? Let's do, I want Vele. I need Vele in my life. Yeah, so I'm going to run this same one that we just did with the Sutton anytime TD, but with the Vele slide. Here's the Vele slide. What's another good slide? I do want to use this Sutton over Judy fantasy points. I like that call. Who else is scoring a touchdown for the Broncos tonight? Yeah, I just hate the that it's 0.5 interception. Or sorry, 0.88 on it. But we can toss that in. Kroll is scoring a touchdown. Now that's some freaky shit. I do like the higher targets there. There's Sutton versus Chubb fantasy points. That's interesting. Slide Jameis to 2 interceptions. Even that, like 1.89 for 2 picks. I feel like I'd want to be in the 3s for that. What about something with can we slide attempts? Completions, longest rush, longest completion. This is like, does anyone ever do the completion percentage stuff? Didn't we do that once? Historical anomalies. Did we do that? It was just like a miserable sweat. I guess you could take lower on the completions. Yeah, I mean we can do one Jameis INT. I don't hate it. I just wish there were better odds on it. Where did he go? Is it gone? Do I need to refresh? Yeah, I like how the Njoku targets dovetails with Winston interception, because, you know, if he's chucking a ton, more targets for Njoku. I can't quit Vele though. Let's just play we'll just play the receptions at 3.5 to add that. That gets us to a 9.24. Man, this one's having a hard time making it move for me. This is a lot of things to get right. Look at this, a 5-legger that pays 13x. I'm sorry, guys. I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling. I do think yeah, the Sutton anytime TD looks like one of the best ways to play him. So then I think it hurts when you're using him elsewhere. Ooh, I'm guessing they won't let you use. Will they let you use Jameis, Pick, and Surtain? They probably won't let you do that, right? Yeah, we basically have to pick, but maybe is that the better way to do it? We just get rid of Winston and we play it through Surtain. Now we're at a 27x. Now we're starting to cook a little bit. Let's do a core. This is a 15x. Someone said they just wanted to win one. Let's just win this one. Njoku, 7.5 targets, Surtain, interception, and Sutton outscores Judy. We're calling this core 2. Anything on the Denver rushing side? I kind of like the Javonte lower rushing yards. This backfield has been such a mess. I mean, there's some of these games where he just gets completely phased out, and they are like a hot hand thing. He had the 9 versus 59 versus Atlanta, but like, let's check the recent running back usage. They were using Jaleel McLaughlin a decent bit last game. Yeah, he had 6 rush attempts. Javonte had 8. Estime had 3. Jamari Thrash with Tillman out. Which number? Just receiving yards? Isn't he kind of a big play guy or more of a down the field burner? Yeah, the problem is I feel like it's man, they're giving Javonte 1.14x odds to score a TD. Man, because like the short down and distance stuff, they gave 4 of those to McLaughlin last week. What's the Jamari Thrash? Damn, I wish they had yards. Just banking on a touchdown doesn't seem great. What's the what was the McLaughlin? McLaughlin anytime TD is kind of fun. But he hasn't scored a touchdown in a while. Dude, you don't have to talk me into more Vele. I think Vele is the skeleton key to this pick'em slate. Okay, yeah, that's fun. Let's just have some fun. 39.5 longest reception. Let's hit a bomb here. Can we hit a bomb? If we do these two and then we just rotate, if we put in like a few of our favorite of the Browns ones, these are 250Xs. Yeah, let's run this twice. So Vele catches a bomb, Sutton scores a TD, and we get a couple 50Xs here. There's that one. And then let's run it once with Chubb lower rushing yards. You'll notice how my unit size has been getting lower and lower as I punt it off in pick'ems. Trying to practice responsible gaming. You guys want some of the small ball stuff? Akins? See, Akins 14.5 receiving yards. Honestly, that doesn't look bad. But then I got to take a look at that slide. I think you do, do you do like Akins and then Njoku lowers? That's a little scary. Or you just play Akins by himself. Beastburf likes Hopkins over 2.5 field goals. Man, I guess I ain't stalling out here. How does that compare? Who the fuck is the Denver kicker? Will Lutz? Are the Broncos scoring 3 tutties tonight? Probably not. Not with this total. This total is pretty weak. Nick's rushing yards. Yeah, they finally lowered this number because he just has not been rushing a ton lately. It's like the offense is like completely switched with him chucking it. I think I'd almost like rather slide him. Like if he does actually run a ton, you get like a Drake May, like 25-yard scamper. See, I'm just addicted to slides. I just can't help myself. Should we just max slide? 4.74 for 299.5 when he's done that. I guess he didn't do it last week against Las Vegas. That is a lot for this game. But if Vele's doing it, alternate universe, this game is a shootout. Literally my internal monologue every single time I build a pick 'em. What if this game is a shootout? Vele 1.5 first quarter receiving yards. All right, now we're talking. Did they let you slide that? The thing with Vele is that he's the kind of guy I want to slide. I think we did what? We did Vele longest reception. We did Vele yards. We haven't done Vele reception slide yet. Let's take him up to 6 receptions. Nix has thrown 2 TDs in all 3 of these last games. They're not going to let us do. Let's do that, and then let's get back to the Sutton. Let's do the Sutton over Chubb fantasy points. Didn't someone mention that was in here as well? Oh, they're not going to let us do the Knicks passing TD. That's crappy. All right, this is an 18.4. Should we just win a pick 'em? Let's just win this. Akins goes for 14.5 receiving yards. Devon Vele has 6 receptions. And Sutton outscores Nick Chubb. Or should we get something with Knicks in here? We probably need something with Knicks in here if this is happening. Just a little slide on Knicks. All right, that gets us to a 27x. All right, I've already lost interest in this game. I've lost interest. Let's do one draft, and then you guys can head out and watch ADP chasing, which is kicking off here in a couple of minutes. Let's get a week 14 draft under our belt. Primetime Palooza's in the lobby. We'll do a first look BR. First look BR, 2 more people. Let's get a first look at this slate. I mentioned this, I think, on one of my shows yesterday. I'm going to have slightly different schedule this week because I'm heading to Dallas on Friday for the Dog Bowl festivities. So Often on the Clock is going to be at night. We haven't settled on the exact time yet. We'll let you know about that. Not going to have an After Dark on Saturday because I'll be in Dallas. I will still have the Cram in portfolio reviews. We'll try to keep those rolling, assuming I have a setup for that, which I should. So I guess really the only thing different is Block Party is going to be pre-recorded, and then Often on the Clock isn't going to be in the afternoon. That'll be a live show on location from Dallas. So let's see what this slate, all of our Dog Bowl qualifiers are working with here. We got Allen and Hurts up top, and wow, Tua is ADP QB3 right now. It looks like kind of a weak quarterback slate just on first glance. Kyler should probably be going ahead of Tua, right? Home versus Seattle. Running backs look strong. Guys, Christian McCaffrey isn't playing. All right, what are we going to do here? Yeah, Achane, that's an easy pick. That's an easy pick. Wide receivers, we got AJB versus Carolina, Jefferson, Puka, Evans, Kupp, Tyreek, London, Pickens, DJ Moore, Metcalf, JSN, Neighbors all the way down to 33.1. Keenan, Jacoby. So wide receiver looks fine, not super strong. Tight ends, Bowers, McBride, Kittle, Jonnu up to the tight end 4. Hawkinson, Ingram, Goddard, and Taysom. Taysom's done for the year, man. I just want to know the sicko. Like, again, trust me, I understand the Q tag game. I'm very well with how it works. There's no chance Taysom is playing next week or this week. There's no chance. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my probability math is all off. But I just want to know who's like, I'm taking Taysom with my Q tag. Bijan has been on fire. Is this finally the week for Jefferson? Maybe we just need to do what the Lord intended, which is start taking Mike Evans over Justin Jefferson. Swoop. Is this Brady's alt? I'm on to you, Brady. Welcome to Slide Nation, Fatty McFats. I never knew you could change the numbers. It's relatively new. Past, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months. It was on mobile for initially, and then they finally rolled it out for desktop too. How is Evans a Leone-ass pick? Mike Evans is just a fucking baller, dude. This is one of the most pass-happy offenses. Baker's dealing, scores a touchdown every week. Monster ceiling, high floor, very little competition for targets. Evans has transcended age dichotomies. He's not an old or young pick. Dude's just a fucking baller, man. Let's do Trey McBride. McBride scores a touchdown, right? Right? It is kind of it looks like a tough slate for the dog bowl drafters too. Like the 5th and 6th rounds seem like it's going to be pretty weak.
Bro, he's 6'5". He scores touchdowns at will. Draft Mike Evans and log out.
Super Dave trying to get in the Q tag on the Thursday slate. You can do that in Primetime Palooza. Get your Dobbs Q tag angle. Does Aaron Jones bounce back? I feel like that's kind of the Aaron Jones MO. Actually, what are we doing here, right? Isn't Jordan Mason's going to be back to doing Jordan Mason things. Where does Jordan Mason's ADP settle? I guess people are going to be worried about Garendo. All right, we need a quarterback and we need a wide receiver here. I'm going with Kyler. I think this is a good spot for Kyler. Kyler is complete Jekyll or Hyde, either just the worst games you've ever seen or plays like he's fucking Joe Montana. And you can see here his rough games recently on the road 3 weeks ago just lit up the Jets. I think this game could definitely shoot out. So we go Kyler to McBride. We got HM, we got Jordan Mason, Evans, and now we need a one-off wide receiver. Man, people hate Devontae Adams. Now that's a Leone-ass pick. His targets have been really good. I mean, you obviously you kind of just need the second touchdown for him to be there, but it seems very much in play. Also, we got 40K up top again in the BR this week, which is super sick. And also there's a really big goal line stand contest. I think it's 20,000 to first in the goal line stand. So that's the 12-person drafts. All right, we're on the clock. Let's get somewhat of a fun scroll here. Jalen Waddle feels kind of buried for who the Jaquan Jackson. Let's just do a fun scroll. We have Achan. Let's play this as like Jonnu is overdrafted. Dolphins roll at home, and Achan and Waddle pull Bucky and Mike Evans. But yeah, check out that goal line stand too. If you guys like the 12-person contests, 20K to first is sweet. 7,500 entries, 10K to second. But I'm going to let you guys go and watch ADP chasing with Mike Shope, Davis, and Karain. And I will be back tomorrow for the Swolecast at noon Eastern. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the game tonight. And we'll see you guys next time on the Portfolio Review.